Card. There we go. Um, okay, can everybody see my screen there of the slide deck? Okay, great. Um, so yeah, just to kind of, my name's Bryn for folks that have met me. If not, nice to meet you. I work at Cooperative Energy Futures as the Sustainable Homes Program Specialist. So I've worked here for about 4 years. I've been a member for longer, and yeah, I've we've grown a lot. And the idea for this event kind of came. We want our members to get a better sense of kind of who the board is just in general, and also have try to get some members to run for the board themselves. We've tended to in the past have future board members come from maybe folks that have heard about CEF from the outside, and their first kind of interaction with CEF is to become a board member, and which is totally great and totally works. But we're also trying to kind of cultivate members understanding the organization and then feeling kind of empowered to become a board member themselves. So Sewer Co-op, which is right across the street from where we work, we're based out of Sabathie Community Center, which is on 38th, just a couple of blocks from George Floyd Square. They hosted a very similar event to this, and I went. I did not run for their board, but it was very helpful for me to kind of get a sense of what the expectations are, and just kind of what it would mean to be a board member. So the goal of the evening is to kind of get a chance for us all just to get to know each other a little bit. You'll get to hear from some current board members, um, learn some super basics about CEF and the board, and then just kind of open it up to general questions. And this is your chance to ask your questions if you have anything that's super burning. If you don't, great. But if you do, this is the opportunity to do that. And then we can kind of talk a little bit about next steps, about like logistics of registering for the annual event or filling out the board nomination form. Sound good? Okay. So um, I think so. This first step is kind of we'll have kind of some of the board members speak and kind of go through these intro questions, and then we kind of want to kick it to the attendees to answer these. There's another set of questions on the next slide, but yeah, Lisa, I'll just kick it to you if you're cool with that.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Lisa Callahan, current board chair at CEF. I originally joined the board because I deeply believe in the cooperative model. It takes just power, and the decisions, are for everyday people. And energy is governed by large utilities and centralized systems. And CEF takes a small piece of that away. And I just support that. And that was the original reason why I joined. What have I gotten out of the board service, or what have I learned? Lots I've gotten out of it. It's kind of a funny, special thing I learned was that I think about a week into being in the service, I learned that there was a community garden in the small town of Clark's Grove and it was one of their first installations. And that's where born and raised, moved to California and New York, and I still have a farm there. And I was like, what are the chances that I'm part of a board where their system is just in this little teeny town? So it's surprising that CEF is not just in the surrounding metro. And so that was like a little nice surprise. Democratic governance, hugely. I mean, what does that mean? It means that it's this cooperative model. It's putting the power back into our hands. It's that you have a piece in the benefit of this company, as well as in doing your own uh, way of getting energy, right? So you're not just paying out a check to a system. You're actually reaping rewards. And I think that that's a powerful feeling. Anywhere in the world, yeah, I moved back here a couple of years ago, so like just rediscovering Minnesota and hiking is big for me. But I in the next 3 years, I'm a big downhill skier. So I've never skied the Andes. So
Ooh.
it, I know it's sort of hard because you have to ski in the summer, and us Minnesotans, we
Oh,
value our
sounds weird.
summer.
That's weird. I wouldn't. Yeah.
It's really weird. And so I just hadn't, when had summers year round, I never, and so it's on my list for the next 3 years. So that's my answers. Should I pass it to Brett now to quickly go through?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll kick it to Brett.
Hello, everyone. Brett Thompson. I have been on the board. This is the end of my second term, so it's been 4 years now. I originally ran. I had a friend, Holly, who was on the board, and we knew each other through, we both had kids at the same school, and then ended up actually both did substitute teaching in Minneapolis public schools. So we kind of knew each other through that, and we're talking one day about energy, and she got on the subject of cooperative energy futures. I looked into it and decided I joined then, and then a couple months later, it came time for elections, and so I ran for the board, and I've been on it for 4 years now. It's been wonderful. I've gotten it's been such a tremendous time of growth since I've been here. When I started, I think Bryn had actually just started also.
Yeah.
There had only been a few employees, and it kind of had started out as this volunteer thing, and was just really just taking off then with kind of getting. I mean, they already had I think a few gardens going at that point. But just watching it evolve, and then I think for me, learning all of the business side of it, all of the financial stuff that's not, and all these areas that were not my expertise, that I learned about. My background's kind of more, education, but also engineering and science, and so I knew a lot about the electrical side of things, and I knew had been in some previous organizations that did some, green energy type of things. So this was just, it kind of was a natural fit, but there was all of this new stuff, and learning all of that business side of stuff and all the policy side of stuff too. Going to all of the things that CEF kind of does to work on even kind of making the laws to make solar community gardens possible. So I've learned so much in so many broad areas. And I think that kind of goes into the next question, democratic
Yeah.
governance.
Yeah. Why don't you talk a little bit just about the co-op model and democratic governance?
Yeah, so I think that I knew enough about co-ops. I definitely like the model that that there's kind of this um, not it's not the same as the corporate model, but the way that CEF kind of integrates this cooperative model into the corporate capitalist system that we all live in, really it it's a really great thing, the way that they're doing it, and the way that uh, the cooperative works. Having a not just the board but the membership all ultimately can have a say, and you all get to share in the benefits and the work, and the community that it builds, I think, is been really great too. So I've really enjoyed the people I've gotten to know, and I think that's why I think um, the model of the cooperative model and the amount of kind of democracy it brings to kind of it's like a little village, you know.
Definitely.
It's a way to kind of reclaim something a little more local and feel like you're part of a community instead of just, sending bills to some faceless corporation or whatever. So, and if I could travel anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
uh,
No Mars yet. We're
yeah,
not letting you go
yeah.
to Mars.
But since it does say in the world, I'm going to say the coolest place I could think of was to go to the center of the Earth, if
Ooh.
if imagination's allowed, and I could
Yeah.
build some sort of bubble
Yeah.
to
Anything's
go all the way.
possible. Why
So
not?
I think that would be where if I could travel anywhere, because
Too hot for
imagine
me,
the things we could learn.
but yeah, could be cool to check it out. And then yeah, I think we have one other board member who just joined. Igal, if you want to take yourself off mute.
Hello, everyone. You see me?
Ooh, okay. Be careful if you're driving. I don't want you to get in a car crash.
Yeah, so I'm careful. I'm on my way to my sister's graduation. I dropped the ball today. I'm in Arizona. So thank you
Oh,
to everyone for reminding me my schedule's
Well,
off.
here,
Answer these questions.
I'll give you the prompts so you don't have to look somewhere else. Okay, so I'll tell them to you verbally. So we've got three questions. So first one is just why did you choose to run for the board just originally?
Okay. I originally was kind of hanging out with the outreach team. Um, I was in the Sabathani building. That's where they were. We connected and they were telling me about their work. That was my introduction to CEF and seeing the work they did. And I went door knocking with them and just got to see how that learn about the organization from the grassroots model. And I thought it was great. I was very surprised at the work we were doing. And my background is in solar. I used to sell renewable energy home appliances in Kenya. So, and the idea of democratizing our grid occurred to me then because solar became very corporate in Africa. It was pitched as something that could, liberate and democratize. They said all those things, but then I realized if it's, regardless of technology, if it's employed by the same thinking, the same business model, corporate, centralized, mega entity with more money than anyone else, the results are going to be the same. And so to see that CF was moving the culture forward with a viable model, I'm on board. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's great. I remember meeting Gall at like it was just like a festival outside, and he was just telling me about his background. I was just like, yeah, you should work with us. Like it's just like it was just such a perfect match. Okay, next question would be just like what's in your kind of part of being the board in this year that you've been on it? What's something you got out of it, or what's something you've learned?
seeing the inner machinations of how an organization runs from top to bottom.
Yeah,
Get to make decisions. They ask us, they defer to us, the staff, and get the board to weigh in, and then so it's a new practice for me. I've never been on a board of anything. It's a different skill where you can direct and oversee and really understand things at the macro and the micro level. In addition to that, it was great to see what I call a do-gooder organization go operate in a very organized fashion. So if solar gardens are to become something viable, they need a CEF, some intelligent way to organize and get things done and move forward. So and to learn from CEF, so in the future, I hope to direct more uh, enterprises like this so that we can mainstream other great ideas. I'm into natural buildings. Um, there's a lot of good ideas out there, but to go from an idea stage to something viable, that takes organization.
cool. And then just last question is maybe just talk a little bit about the co-op model. I know you've talked about that a little bit, but just kind of how you think about representing the members and then just kind of a fun one. I know you've already traveled to Kenya, but is there anywhere else in the world that you want to go or travel to?
Yeah, I'll start with the third one. Co-op model, what I really like about it, I think the co-op is the introduction to not the introduction, not the end of a circular way of living. Most of the way we live today's world is linear. We want to make more, produce more than last quarter. You know, we're moving infinitely. We want our consumption, our taste is infinite on a finite planet. We want to do more and more and more. The co-op, I see that as very the truest source of renewable energy. I would consider co-op circular because if you give back what you get, you'll never run out. So to me, the co-op is a great example of a circular way of living.
Yeah.
And we know linear way of living. That's like the corporate world we see everywhere else. Um, and I think being in a co-op is the introduction to that kind of way of living. For people, I could see them going to other ways of circular living beyond just being in a co-op.
Cool.
Question: where would I go? My
Yeah,
number
where'd
one
you go?
has to be Rwanda. It's in Africa. They have mountain gorillas. That's my favorite
Oh,
animal. You can go on a safari, you know, trek to the forest, and if you're lucky, maybe you get to see the family of gorillas. That's my number one spot.
yeah, I've only seen one at the zoo, so that'd be pretty sweet to see it like go on a tour or something like that. Okay, if folks are comfortable, we'd love to kind of hear from some of the attendees that are here. If you don't feel comfortable, that's fine, but we just have a couple questions for you, and just mainly we want to make sure we answer what you're hoping to get out of tonight, and that you're taking away from it, and that you feel like you've learned something about the board or learned something that you is helping you make your decision about whether to run for the board or not. I'm going to call Aaron. Aaron, do you want to go first? Since you already
I'd
filled
love
out the
to.
board nomination form.
For sure. Yeah, thanks. So thanks for the intro, board members, and Brent. I'm definitely interested to hear how you got here and what your interests are and what you've been able to take away, of course, too. Let me answer my three questions. So I've been a member of CEF, I think about 2 years. You can fact check me, I imagine, Bryn, but about 2 years. I heard about it through my cousin Audrey. You may work with her, I'm not sure.
Audrey's my boss. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. All right. Yeah. So she and I, like, usually when our family is very close, everybody gets together. Usually I just corner Audrey and like grill her on community energy futures. I love the business model. I'm super. So I have solar panels on my house. We moved everything to electric to try and get as close to net zero as we can. It's like an obsession is probably about the right word. Like I love thinking about this stuff. And so I'm really, really excited to sort of, it's expensive is the thing. And so some mechanism to organize and lower the barrier to entry for everybody. It just feels like the right approach. I identify with those of you who shared, like, I don't love writing checks to a faceless conglomerate who runs everything and has monopolistic powers. That definitely grates on me. So something like this totally makes sense. So what am I hoping to take away? I want to understand I want to understand what I can do, what I can contribute to the future. So like, what are the growth areas? What are the opportunities to expand into? I have a ton of ideas of my own. I imagine I'll be excited to be inspired by the ideas of others too. So I think it's hopefully a chance to bounce ideas around and to maybe guide the company to do some of those cool things. What am I looking forward to do this summer? I just started a job. I'm excited to get into that. My daughter's graduating from high school. I'm excited to sort of see her go off to college and do sort of live vicariously through the energy of the youth.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am. I won't take too much time, but that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, you bet.
Can I kick it to you, David? Would that be all right?
Sure. So I've been a member for, I don't know, 3-4 years now, I think. been a subscriber since Clara City went online. So just my history with solar, goes back to college when I was on the U of M's solar vehicle team for a couple of
Oh,
years, and I really gained an interest at that time. Saw a lot of the challenges from that era 25 years ago with costs and efficiencies and knowing what you can do with limited power budgets and all that kind of stuff. So it's always been in the back of my mind, like a lot of people, when it came to home solar and looking at the costs and seeing pros and cons of all the different models of doing home solar, and I just couldn't ever make it work. And then finding out about community solar and this organization, it's like, yeah, this kind of brings everything into place. The Like was mentioned earlier, the democratization of energy production. I even saw some of that a few years ago when I was down in Puerto Rico after hurricane basically wiped out the entire grid, and it's like you just talk to people and they're like, well, yeah, we're just not doing it the same way. We're just building all this distributed stuff on our own, and whatever the national grid system is what it is, but we're going to have more of our own generation capacity. I thought that was an interesting way of going about it. So something that I just wanted to learn about tonight, just kind of how the board functions, what's the commitment, the role, and just learn more about it. I've got plenty of things to do, but I've also got an interest in this. So it's one of those things where, learn about something before you commit to it. And as far as the summer is concerned, looking to, get out for some outdoor concerts or stuff like that. Spend some time with family's got a lake cabin up near Duluth. So looking to get up
I'm
there a few
jealous.
times.
I need to go to someone's cabin. I need to mooch off someone else's cabin because I don't have one. But I want to go to a cabin.
Oh, if my grandparents hadn't built it, I wouldn't have a cabin either.
Exactly. Yeah, I need to buy my own house first before I get a cabin. Millennial problems. Shay, can I kick it to you? Would that be all right?
Sure, I can go. So I heard about CEF because I am a Facebook friend of Bryn's. We went to high school together a long time ago. He was much better than me on the tennis team at Central High School in St. Paul. So yeah, and I've always been interested in like energy. I really didn't hear about CEF until he was like he's been posting about it, but
yeah.
I saw that one of the needs or one of the things that you're looking for is someone with accounting or finance experience. And I work for a nonprofit in St. Paul as the finance manager. So I thought it's possible. I know something about this, but I'm not super aware of the co-op model. So I'm interested to learn more. But I am aware of like working with boards and all of that. So what is something I want to hoping to take away from tonight? Yeah, learning more about how the board functions for sure. There's like, are there different committees? Is it just kind of the board? Who are the different positions that are available possibly? Yeah, and just learn more about Cooperative Energy Futures mission and what they do. And I'm hearing a lot of stuff that I agree with or am interested in, and like looking at your website as I'm listening to you guys talk, and it just seems great. Yeah, Yeah, what is something I look forward to this summer? My son is 19 months old right now and just enjoying
Saw
a
those baby
summer.
pics.
Huh?
Cute baby, cute baby. I saw those baby pics on Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. And so like just enjoying the summer with him, and like he's throwing dirt around and picking flowers, and it's just it's super fun. So I'm looking forward to a full summer of that.
Great, thanks, Shay. And last but not least, is it Simona? Did I say it right? Cool.
Yep. Yeah. So, Simona Fisher, I am an architect and I've been a member of CEF for, I think, 7 years. And I've just always loved the model. I think I'm a sustainability director in my architectural capacity. So I started emailing with folks back in like 2016, trying to figure out as a renter how to get involved. And I love the model that it works for both. It was the first I had ever seen of a model that was geared towards renters and homeowners. So I thought that was a really uh, great thing for the community and kind of embodies what um, different parts of a sustainable future. Um, Totally love the comment about natural building materials. That is where my heart lies. I did a bunch of work last summer on the residential code adoption of hemp lime and straw bale. So if anyone wants to nerd out on a totally different topic,
I do later.
I am up for it.
Okay.
Yeah, totally
Cool.
love it. Yeah, happy to present on that code change stuff too, because I've got a presentation ready that I've given a lot, but I digress big time. I'm interested tonight. I just wanted to know what the board is like and what the roles are and what kinds of I guess contribution you're looking for from people and whether it might be something where I could contribute. So looking forward to hearing more about that. And this summer, I'm going camping on Stockton Island, which is gonna be cool, I think.
Sweet. Thanks for sharing and thanks for coming. And we will nerd out later because I've been following some of that stuff too, and it's exciting. And I would love if we could do something with it. I don't know if we can, but that'd be rad. Okay, I'm just gonna go through these slides just super briefly, just super high level of kind of CEF as an organization and CEF as a co-op. And then I'm going to kick it over to Lisa to talk about some of those board specific things about kind of how it works and some of the committees. So, yes, basically a co-op is a group of people who come together to solve a problem through a joint venture. So it's a very technical definition, but the thing I get asked a lot is like, is it a nonprofit? And like, no, a co-op is not a nonprofit. A co-op is a business, and it is a business to solve like a problem. So there's different types of co-ops that exist. CF's obviously focused on energy, but there's food co-op, grocery stores. There's co-ops about helping people do childcare. There's all kinds of different co-ops. So I grew up in St. Paul. Like I went to Central High School. I'm now live in Minneapolis, and Mayday Cafe is right in the heart of South Minneapolis, and they recently became a worker-owned co-op. So there's lots of different types of co-ops out there. CF's a consumer co-op, so that's kind of our classification, which means all of our members are owners of the co-op, which means they have equal voting power. So no matter how people participate in the co-op, everybody has equal say in how it's run. So I'll talk a little bit about how we kind of do elections a bit, but and then this is guided by the 7 cooperative principles. So this is like any co-op, in the world. This is like an international values that all the co-ops should kind of abide by or think about in their work, as they're achieving their goals as an organization. So, one is voluntary and open membership. Anybody can become a member of CF if they want. They don't need to live somewhere, have a certain income. Anybody can become a member. We do have some requirements about how people can participate in programs, but everyone could become a member of the co-op. Democratic member control, people vote for the board. That's pretty much the main way, is like kind of electing your board representatives and then they work on your behalf. But we get people's opinions. We want to hear how people are reacting to what we're doing and kind of change how we operate. So that's a kind of more just kind of basic level of how we work. Members' economic participation. So we have lots of programs that we do and we're growing. It's already been mentioned a couple times, community solar, but basically people pay us to participate in our community solar gardens, and that's how we make money. You know, we are a business. We need to make profit to sustain our costs and operations. So there is this like economic aspect of all this, so people can benefit financially. Autonomy and independence. So co-ops are trying to, you know, have their own self-interest, not be guided by outside forces. So the board could probably speak to this a lot better than I can, because this is something that can be really hard doing board stuff, because we have a lot of different interests that we have to work with, like financing partners or other partnerships that we work on. And so kind of maintaining our ability to make decisions on behalf of the members and our independence to kind of run the business how we want to run is something that can be challenging at times, but it's a kind of core value. Education and training. This is something that we're doing a lot more, but you know, an event like this tonight, we also do kind of outreach events to help just educate people on the energy system and solar. So that's something that we do. Cooperation among co-ops. This is one of my favorite ones because people can co-op nerd basically, but an example. So I'm always trying to talk with other co-ops, see how co-ops can work together. 2 examples that we did is our annual gathering coming up. We're doing childcare with a childcare co-op. So that's a way we're kind of supporting another co-op. And then another one is that there's a organization that helps manufactured home parks become cooperatives. And we've worked with them a ton over the years to help have people in mobile homes sign up for our subscriptions in community solar gardens. And so that's been a really symbiotic relationship. And then, concern for community. Like, we are not just some corporate faceless entity. Obviously, we're like a business, but we have a goal of helping people make our community better, make them more livable, make the energy system cleaner and more affordable, and all those kinds of things. So these values are very much guide our work. It's not just about profits, and that's it, basically. Next one here is just kind of very high level of CEF. We do a ton, and I'm totally willing to nerd out with people. I love talking about what we do because I just think it's really cool. But this is just kind of some super basics. Founded in 2009, so we have been around for a while, but kind of to what Brett was talking about, I'd say really in the last like 4 to 6 years, we've really grown in a way that we haven't in the past. But we do have 1,500 members, over 1,500 members from all across Minnesota. So rural, urban, homeowner, renter, wealthy, low income. It's really everybody. And that's important because obviously everybody pays an energy bill. Everybody turns on the lights, like that's what, somebody was like, asked me once, like, do I qualify? And I was like, does Excel send you a bill? And it's like, yes, they do. So like our programs can help you. Community solar has been our biggest thing by far, but we are growing. Community solar basically is a way that people can participate without having to have it on their own homes. I think most folks know that, but just to help folks that maybe aren't here that don't know that. So this is a picture of the project we did in partnership with Eden Prairie on their community center. I believe this is like 150-ish subscribers. Oh, I should have remembered, but I signed up a lot of them. I know that. And so, we currently have 13 active gardens with like 14 more. So this will always be a huge part of CEF and what we do, just because it does allow renters to participate. It does help like the grid, help serve areas better. So this is really important, but we want to be more than solar. Solar is obviously a really important aspect of the clean energy transition and our energy system, but there's other problems and other things that need to be made more accessible. So I won't dive into the weeds on these, but we do have a rooftop solar program for low-income homeowners because there's some benefits by having it just on your own roof. The Sustainable Homes program, which I'm working in right now and just launched about a year ago to help make energy efficiency improvements more affordable to people by eliminating upfront cost. And then our geothermal programs in the works and will take a while to develop. I can't give answers on what that is exactly, but the idea is to kind of have a whole bunch of people be on one big like network of geothermal together and kind of co-own it. And by doing one big system, it's more efficient. And geothermal is like a super, super efficient way to heat your home. So yeah, this is kind of the quote that we use just here at the bottom is like, one person can impact their own energy bills. Like kind of like Aaron was talking about, you can get solar on your roof, or you can put in LED light bulbs, or you can do all these things, but by coordinating and working together, you can have a meaningful impact on the energy system as a whole. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the board here, and I'm just going to kick it over to Lisa.
Hi, everyone again. So the board, as you can see, 9 members, 2 terms. And the main role is guiding the business affairs of the cooperative, the best interests of all the members, always keeping that in kind of in the back of our minds, is that it's a company it's an organization for everyone. The board, I want to get back to Simona's question about different people within the board and different backgrounds, and you do not need a solar or renewable energy background. You do not. It maybe is of interest, maybe you're completely not even at all involved in it, but you just are really excited about this company, or for whatever reason. I personally like a variety in the board. It's been because we all learn differently. Some have professor backgrounds and teacher, and they can explain things more patiently to other people on the team. And some people have a background like myself in finance and renewable energy, and maybe you can take some of those hard finance questions, and we learn from each other. So I want to stress that enough that it's great when you have a diverse background of individuals that can handle, because you'll see on the next slide the different committees and stuff. Anyone have any questions about this slide? It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, let's move to the next.
Yeah, I'll just add this, this circle kind of that Igal talked about, it's this full circle, and this is very different from other businesses where it's kind of top down, is like, I'm at this blue as the employees, we have our members in the red, Lisa's a board, and then, Audrey's like my boss. So that everyone plays this different role, but they're all accountable to each other. And so when I have people become members of the co-op, I'm always like, you're my boss. And that's like true to a certain level. They really are. So, yeah, I can go to the next slide here.
I just one quick question about that. So,
Sure.
So 7 members being elected this year on a 9-member board. Is that an unusual situation, or is that constant that there's like a 2 and a 7 if they're 2-year terms?
I mean, I can take that, Lisa, if you want. Or
yeah.
Basically, I think in talking to Timothy, our general manager, we had like some people that were board members, and then like in the past, and then they kind of resigned. And so now we're kind of in this wonky situation here that I actually kind of want us to like level off a little bit and figure out a way to do that, because we kind of have these really high election years and lower election years, which I don't think is super great. To be clear, like of that 7 members, we do have current board members that are going to rerun. So it's not just like 7 new people out of the woodwork, but it's a key thing, right? Is I think all of our board members, they've done a great job. I fully expect them to get reelected, but they got to get reelected. You know what I mean? They have to do that. So did that answer your question, David?
Yeah, and just from past experience with that kind of a situation, just figuring out a way within the bylaws of the organization to be able to do like either a short term or an extended term for a couple
We could
people
do it, yeah.
to get them back onto those cycles.
You're
I thought
exactly
that
right.
probably was what happened.
We could totally do it.
Well, I'm just explaining, like the last year, there were hardly any being that were being elected. But then when I was in 2024, I think there was like 5, and it seemed kind of, so it's sort of this up and down, I've noticed just in general. So, and this one just seems to be pretty heavy from the couple of years I've been on board too.
And I think there's 4 people rerunning possibly. I think so. It's you can have 3 total terms of 2 years each, and I'm on year 4, so 6 total years is what you get. So yeah, that's kind of how it's varied.
So expectations, the, the as a chair, we always like to make quorum. So like if you're not going to be there, like please let us know, let me know, let someone, the staff member know. And so it's always respectful. It's a big thing for me. But most people do and are very, but we get busy. They're usually they've always sort of been on Monday nights, and and people have things going on. So, but we do like to make quorum, and it has rarely been an issue. But when it has, we always there's very rare meetings where you don't have to make decisions in these meetings. So I think that that's a big expectation that you need to commit to. And then I would say the lesser, so obviously at the board meetings, the lesser one of the two would be, committing to additional 1 to 2 hours. That could ebb and flow. Like, for example, there could be events or that we might need to be more engaged, and there might be a week or a month that it's just a little less. But typically, I'd say that's on average. And then getting to the committees, like the finance committee, they don't have regular meetings. We often get loaded with things that we need to look through and get a fine-tooth comb. And then Pine or Timothy and Pine's the finance, the CFO will get a hold of the team and we'll have like sort of an impromptu, but they're not as regular as you think. Going back to that, diverse background, we've had a lot of human resources types of issues since I've been in the terms, and that is not my background at all. So thank heavens we've had some other people that are very much involved in that to be able to take that load of pressure to wade through some of those things. And member engagement, that's sort of they I don't know exactly all the things they do, but that's been such a critical aspect of cooperative energy futures. So, and it's imperative to make sure that all those things line up. And I think also member engagement sort of handles some of the events too. So it's like they get double loaded, and those can be very hectic. So, and again, critical. The last one is policy. We have a policy leader at CEF that is very engaged in federal and state policy. So I think if you want to learn more about policy and all that's involved, I mean, it is a committee that it can be very educative. And so again, the expectations, you'd be at the meetings and then know that there'll be 2 hours of the month that have other various emailing, or maybe we need to get something signed or accepted mid to before the board meeting, those sorts of things. And then sometimes some events, and then something like this tonight.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
I'll say just, we have lots of board members that attend those meetings virtually. So in person is definitely not a requirement, especially as we're all rushing to get home from work and things like that. And I think Lisa covered it, but like all the staff try to make our board reports really good and, and make it so that you're well informed before the meeting and make them succinct. So we want you to read them because we work on them. So that's like, I don't know, you guys would know better than me, but you should, that kind of packet that goes out, I think you can review that in 20, 30 minutes, something like that generally. And those go out before the meeting. So
can I ask about the committee topic?
Yeah, we're going into general questions now, so feel free.
All right, good timing there, I guess. So in the posting that I'm not sure who made it, but it was on the official CEF site about looking for board members. One of the areas was technology or IT. Is there, and that's one of the things I think I can bring to the to the board potentially. I'm curious about, is there a committee, or how would that show up in conversation or during the board decision-making process?
I'll let one of the current board members take a stab at that, and then I can add some things if you want.
Why don't you go, Brett?
Yeah, that's yeah, I think that since I've been a board member, there have been years when we had, I think, 7 or 8 different committees. The committees kind of are in flux, and so if there's a need, sometimes we've formed a committee. I think the first year we formed, I think it was 8 committees, and some of them never met, and so then we kind of, like it's an ever evolving process. So yeah,
So is it fair to say that the committees form on sort of on demand, and then if there's not a demand, then
yes, I would say
form in the future? Okay.
Yeah, at the beginning we'll do, at the beginning of a new term when we've seated all the new board members, we try to get the major committees filled: finance, human resources, engagement, and policy. And there are, I feel like with finance, maybe there's 3 in 2 months, and then there won't be a meeting for several months, and the same with, so you kind of have to think about, think of it as on average 3 to 5 hours a month total. But you can put in more and get out more too. So if and certainly an IT thing would be I think useful, and we haven't really had many IT people on the board. I think that would be a great perspective.
To my knowledge, I don't think we've had somebody that's like their strong background is in IT, and I've only been here 4 years, so I don't know all the different board members we've had in the past, but to kind of just give some context to that, Aaron, like we're in this massive scale moment. We're going to drastically increase our number of members over the next 3 years. We have all these programs that we're trying to make sure are coordinated and interlinked. So we basically have all this data on all these different data points, and some of the data is similar across programs, some of them's different, and how we're managing all that and managing our workflows is something that we're making strides in, and already made some decisions on that right now. And you would, if you get on the board, would learn about all that and the current work being done.
Yeah.
But by no means have all the decisions been made. There are still decisions to come, and, advice that we will need on kind of evaluating different options and things like that. So yeah, I kind of threw that thing in there because, and I think other people at CEF would agree, is, we have a lot of great processes here, but because we're kind of such a unique organization, in some ways, there hasn't been like a software that's like easy to buy off the shelf. You know what I mean? Right. And like we have this very unique thing that we're trying to do, and so trying to like figure out what we need exactly and kind of how they all talk to each other.
So. Yeah, totally. And like the growth sounds like such an amazing opportunity, and it can so quickly expose challenges in managing data, managing information, workflows that don't quite scale. I totally hear that. Okay, thank you for the answers.
Yeah, for sure. This is a super blank slide. I should have made something on this slide. But any other questions that people are dying to know?
I just had a question about, maybe the board members can answer this. Is there sort of a what's the role that the board plays? And maybe I could just take another look at that circle you showed earlier, but like, where do you feel, okay, so sets policy. So we're not really, or the board isn't necessarily getting involved in operations. Are they, or how do you view that piece?
Sometimes, not like operations, but there's a lot that, the manager and, other staff members like want a second, look at and they want to, not only do they, sometimes we have to vote on it, but they want to just value our opinion on things. It doesn't mean that we make the decision by all means, but there's been a number of different items, not just combing through financials for different systems, but other, like, again, technology. There was, there was a big changing of the system at CEF, and that was a big process that we were involved in. And that wasn't on the operation side, and there was some human resource stuff that we went. So yes, the answer is yes. We're a piece of things that they decide they want to bring to us. So within that, sometimes operational decisions are, channel checked, if you will.
Yeah, I would say, Shay, that I don't know if this graphic is like perfect and kind of how CF operates. I just kind of pulled this from somewhere, like how co-op works. I would say the board isn't like figuring out what our operational policies should be or like how the co-op should work. I mean, they can definitely provide that feedback, but it's more that staff comes up with those things, gets the board's input and feedback, and then if needed, the board gives like an official sign off on it. So like, kind of like Lisa mentioned, we had something where we were changing like healthcare providers because of all the craziness that's gone with health insurance. And so, we came and we're like, okay, this is what I didn't do this, but it was like, these are the options we're looking at. This is the costs, how it impact the organizations, yada, yada. Yes or no, are you cool with it? I'd say most of the decisions are pretty much just checking a box, but there are times where there are meaningful decisions that need to be made, like financing partners, which could have real consequences for the organization and kind of the paths we go with. So hopefully that helped give some context.
Yeah, that sounds healthy, as someone who like working in a nonprofit, I, with limited access to a board, it can be, there can be levels of involvement that are good and levels of involvement that are like, feel like, okay, now the board's getting in the way. So, just kind of trying to get an idea of what that balance is.
And
the boards, go for it, Lisa.
Well, I just want to also state that it's laid back as too, but it's also like, it's an intimate type. It's not where like you're like a board and like it's, you know what I'm saying? It's more of a kind, like we're kind of we're co-members of a team in a way. So it's not as rigid as other like board seats.
Okay.
So if like we can ask candid questions. We can ask, no question is dumb, if you will. Like, so it's one of those types of, we can actually talk too much sometimes too, but it's a comfortable board seat.
Okay.
Explaining that a little bit.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Shay. That's a great question.
I know we're pretty much at time, but if there's a little bit more.
Yeah, we got a couple more minutes. I mean, I can stay on as long as, the hockey game starts now, but that's okay. I can watch it later. I could tune in later, second period. But yeah, feel free. Go ahead.
I guess I'm really interested to know from the member communication side. I mean, as the board is representing the membership itself, is most of that communication just handled through the staff and like reporting up to the board, or do the board members have members reaching out beyond like the annual meeting or just like acquaintances, things like that?
I'll take that first and then I'll pass it to either see you, Aaron. Thanks for stopping by. Either Brett or Lisa. So generally the communication, has gone from members to staff and then staff to board, but that is not, I think the ideal. Ideally we want, I think, members going directly to the board. Frankly, it's been like these last few years, it's just been super hectic and like really trying to just do a whole ton with limited capacity. But we are really, and this is part of kind of our data and like improving our membership like experience, is like creating those pathways for the membership to track directly to board members. So that is something we're trying to foster more. Not that you guys would get inundated with calls and emails from hundreds of people, but to me, yeah, in a perfect world, that they don't need staff to be a middleman, right? Like they don't need to do that. You're their representative. So just kind of trying to find those pathways is what we're working on. Unless Lisa and Brett, you have anything else to add there?
I think that sounds like a something that we could definitely improve. I know there has been some membership reaching out to board members, but maybe we make some sort of formal thing in the IT department of having a contact
Yeah.
link on the website to board member, or to a general board member. Maybe the board chair has an email or something.
Yeah, we were talking about that literally last week, about creating like a board email address that could be checked periodically or something like that.
Yeah. So,
I mean, the board meetings are open to all members. We've had sometimes, like very rarely, we've had a member come and just tune in. So they are open to everybody and all members. So that is a thing. It's not like a closed board meeting. So if anyone's curious, so yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. I think maybe the last question I have at the moment. I know a geographical dispersion of the board is a desired trait. With the board members that are remaining and then those that are rerunning, how much geographical diversity are we still looking to? I mean, you're limited to the candidates that are willing to run, but
yeah, I would say
a lot of diversity on that yet.
Actually, Lisa, I'll let you answer that first, or Brett.
You mean like in state of Minnesota? Is that what you're leaning
Yeah,
for?
I know. Yeah, I know there's going to be a large number of people who are coming from the metro area, but representing the whole state is an important part of the mission. So
yeah, so I moved back to Minnesota in 2020, right at COVID. And so I lived in California and New York for about 8 years each. And so I moved to southern Minnesota. And I met CEF, I met Bryn, and so I live near my hometown now. And so I'm in the greater Minnesota. So, and I get to go see, and there's lots of systems around it. There's one in Mankato that I was just near a couple weeks ago. So I'm one that's in the greater Minnesota. I don't know about you, Brett. I know you're in the metro, but I think they would like both, right? I mean, I think that's the end.
Yeah.
Because CEF is in both. CEF is all over.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good mix right now, actually, even. I mean, I think it is mostly metro, but I think 3 or 4 people are at least outer ring far outer ring suburbs, if not rural. So yeah, I think, and yes, a mix is good. So yeah, and I'm gonna have to jump off here too. So
yeah, go for it. Yeah, I would say it's something we're shooting for, but like you said, David, it's like who we have as candidates is who we have. It's just, we have such a diverse membership, so we really do want our board members to try to think about all those different perspectives. And as you know, like living in rural Minnesota is very different from living in urban Twin Cities. And so, and making sure like we engage with all of our members in that way. We don't want to be biased towards members in the metro as opposed to members in rural Minnesota. So cool.
All right. I won't take any more time.
I mean, I can stay on if you have another question, but yeah, up to you.
No, I could talk hours, but it's probably best to just let
Cool.
everybody go.
Awesome.
I'll send out an email to everybody. I forgot to say that before everyone topped, but I'll send out an email with the slide deck and everything. So feel free to reach out if you have questions, and we can just chat too. So
All right.
It's nice
right.
meeting
Good night.
you.
Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
Have a good one.
See ya.